Okay guys, it's time to optimize your percussion in the mix. Now, in all honesty, I never really process my percussion that much. I just try to be very picky on the instruments I actually use. So in my case, it's mostly the claps. There is of course some cymbals going on, sometimes some toms that are playing, drums, fills, but fills for me more lean toward the effects. I'd like to use some, let's say, snares sometimes in the mix, and some effects-ish, kind of ish rhythms. So there's some loops sometimes that give drive to the song that you cannot really place under a tag like cymbal or a tom loop. So let's see what we have in this song and how we can make it as crispy and as tight as possible. Jumping into the project. We're gonna go for, of course, the group channel. So we're gonna go for the drums here. And let's just have a look at what we have playing. We have a clap, like a noisy clap that's playing on all the hits and all the ones. And we have a classic clap, and we have an actual clap that is playing with the kick. What else do we have? We have a ride playing on each and every hit, another ride. So much rides. It's like rideception here. We're in it for the long ride, you know what I mean? Okay, here's an open hi-hat, and I think all of these sounds don't need too much of processing because it comes from the same sample pack, which is one that we've put out on Splice called Protocol Presents Nicky Romero Volume 1. But what we can do to the drums here is something that I like to do, is the pull tech, where you can accent maybe or add some of the, like maybe a small spotlight, maybe that's better to say it that way, on some of the frequencies. I use this one a lot, especially the triple one, where you can also adjust the mid, high, low. And on vocals it sounds quite nice, but also here you can very targeted edit some of the frequencies. So let's see what it does. It boots some of the 12K here. I'm just going to use it for the 12K as it really sits nice and tight there. And then there's a bit crusher going on. That doesn't do too much, but sometimes it adds a little bit of the noisiness to your percussion. And then let's go for the ozone bundle, and in particular the exciter. Now, something that I recently started to discover is the mid-side EQing. It's something that I've never done in my mixes. I think I've been always too lazy to actually focus on it. But lately, there have been quite some benefits of EQing and working on mid-side separately, where you can EQ something for the mids differently than from the stereo image. So to see how that works, I'm going to keep it really easy, just also because I just didn't use it that much in the past. So for me, it's also new. But honestly, if you start to focus on it a little bit, it can really give a nice extra touch to your mix and also to the group channel. So let's see what happens if we add some of these mid-side band exciting to this group. As you can see, there's a few different options here when clicking these different bands, where it now says triode. You can go for dual triode, for warm, for tube, tape, retro, analog, and it will all have its own different taste and flavor. Let's see what works best. For me, it's going to be playing around with these settings a little bit, as I'm not very familiar, but I just go by ear, and you should do the same thing. If you work a lot with the same plugin, you're going to be experienced more with what setting is going to do what. Well, in my case, you know, I'm not the kind of guy that wants to experiment and know how everything works in detail. I just want to know what I have to do to get to the result that I want, honestly. So let's see what happens if we're going to start to add in these settings. First, we're going to work on the mids. So the mid is, this is just everything that we adjust right here is only going to apply for the mid section of this sounds. I like retro. I think tape is too much. Tube is too much. Warm is not enough. Dry out feels like it doesn't do too much. I'm gonna go for retro. It actually is quite nice. So this is just the middle. Let's see what else we have. The highs in the mid. I wouldn't do too much. On the side, we're going to boost some of the highs to create that extra stereo dimension. Do not forget to check the mono signal after you've done this. Well, obviously it will also create some extra output gain, so don't forget to also adjust your gain accordingly. I kind of like it the way it processes it. It's not a huge difference, but you hear there's a little bit more transient, you'll hear there's a little bit more mids going on, where you can, I think, easier hear what is playing what. Without, with. I'm gonna have a look at how much the beat actually generates after using the plugin. So I'm gonna reset the meter here by clicking on it, deactivate the plugin. It will show minus 7.6. Now let's enable it. As you can see, it's still a dB louder, so we're gonna have to lower that in the plugin a little bit more. It's better. There we go. Much better, actually. Well, as you can hear, it starts to come together quite nicely. There's less going on. It's more of like a glued together thing. Obviously, there's still details to be done, but adding and adjusting these little things can just make a huge difference in the end, as it all impacts the headroom in the end of the day that you have left on your master channel. Now, another thing that I would like to bring up is, after you have adjusted everything, after you checked if the mono signal still sounds right to you, which I have done with my monitor control, and you can do with the direction mixer or any other plugin that you like, for example, Brainworks. After you've done that and you think everything sounds about right, then I think what you can do also is adding an extra EQ, making sure that after all the processing, there is no extra low end going on. So I'm just gonna do that and making sure there's nothing going on anymore. Everything under 180 Hertz is gonna be cut off. I think I'm gonna be even putting it a little bit higher. 240 is fine. Deactivating the analyzer from my CPU load, going back, saving the project, and as we do that, I have to make sure that I save it under V2. So we're gonna bounce out a mix accordingly. And now I think it's better to open the V2 project, making sure that we're also saving it to the right project. So I'm gonna do that as we speak. Oh, I just saved over V1. Well, that happens to me all the time. Anyway, I'm gonna have the starting project, which is the actual V1, so not a big issue, but make sure every time you make changes and you have a couple of steps done in your mixing process, that you make a new version and bounce out a version accordingly, so they all match up together. And if you wanna make changes, you can always revert back to the other project parts. So I think we have everything going on here. I think the crashes are a little bit too loud and some of the drums can be a little bit louder. I'm gonna give this guy a little bit more transients because I don't hear exactly what he's playing, and therefore we're gonna go to Universal Audio and to Oxford Envolution. I'm gonna just do a... Oh, this is really gonna take out everything but the... That's exactly not what I need. Not quite satisfied just yet. Let's see what else do we have here. No, it's not doing it for me now. Let's see what else we have. We're gonna go for the dynamics and to the enveloper. Okay, I'm liking that a little better. There was one thing that you can also do on your synths to make it pop a little bit more. Oh, we forgot to actually put back the kickstart compressor. The golden, olden, endless smile of data life is just so easy to work with if you want to get a quick result. I'm going to just add this a little bit to the synths, see if it helps the build up a little bit. Hey, why is this guy not joining? Oh, it's actually not in the group, I think. That's interesting. This one, it sends a dry signal here to the reverb. That is something we gotta change. Then what we have to do is change this to pre-fader. Actually, to post-fader. Still not what I need. Okay, well, then we're gonna have to make an automation for the verb as well. Or you know what? Actually, what's maybe even easier is just use a automation on this guy here. There we go. Same as for here, it's already starting to show the reverb, which we have to fix, making sure that it's not playing before the filter is open. Hey, I hear something going on in the bass as well now that the synths are filtered, because I think the timing is not right here. Let me see. Yeah, there we go. Needs a fix. That's what I said, like sometimes when you're in the mixing process, you'll find out little things that you've done in the production process and that you're gonna have to fix later on in the mixing stage, because you're gonna get gaps and you're gonna fill up things, and then some of these mistakes start to show up along the process is moving up and moving to a final stage. So this is one of these things, like I wouldn't have heard this if I would not have put the endless smile on the group channel. Let's see how it compares to the first demo. So what you can hear is it has more clarity and punch in the kick. You can hear that the percussion shows up and has a little bit more space in the mix. The reverb caused the synth to not be that stuttery. There is some of these effects that still need some work, but we haven't worked the effects section. Especially the kick, the bass and the synths, I think are working quite nicely already. So yeah, that makes me really happy. This is a really good start off, I believe, and I think it's the right time to move into the master chain, fix some of the effects, work on the chords a little bit, making sure that there's no final glitches, wrong notes, if the intro is working together well, that it moves along the whole track nicely, that there's no glitches, stutters, pops, automation that I forgot, and that is something that we're gonna work on.